everyone and welcome to our Flosstube channel, Coco Creates. So I'm Zoe and this is Coco. Yeah, this is my channel all about my stitching and sometimes knitting and crochet, but it'll just be cross stitch today. So, but yes, it's Coco. Coco's a bit heavy because she's been on a week of steroids and she's got a little bit stocky. So I picked her up this morning. I was like, I'm sure you're a little bit stockier than what you were the other day. But yes. So yeah. So and here's Coco. Who's going to go and hang out outside because we've got a little break in the showers. So we've got one of those days today where it kind of rains a little bit and then stops and then rains and then stops. So hopefully it's not going to rain too much because it gets quite loud on the roof. So I might have to pause. Hopefully it won't be too bad. But yes, so we have a nice break in the rain. So yes, typical British summer. No sun, but you know. So this is my July recap. So this will be everything I stitched on last month, which wasn't too bad. What I stitching. I did reach all my standard monthly goals. So my 4 goals. So my two WIPGO pulls, and then my Christmas and greenhouse. So yeah. So let's see how I did with everything else. Oh, let's try and not drop anything on the floor this time. First time I sat down, I started the video and then instantly dropped everything on the floor. I was like, okay, let's take a minute and then let's try again. So hopefully my pile is not as unorganised as it was earlier and it behaves itself. But yes, so July. Actually, I'm going to start with the first project I worked on in July, because towards the end of last month I actually had a WIPGO roll on my board, which was very exciting. But I didn't quite get all the stitching done because I remember when I rolled, I didn't actually land on a project, so I had to roll I think 3 times in a row before I actually found a project to work on. So yes, it ended up being quite a lot of stitches that I had to do. How my WIPGO board works is all the street places have projects assigned to them, and then whatever my dice roll is, I times that by 100 to get how many stitches I'm going to do on that project. You know, so if I rolled a 7, I would do 700 stitches on it. Does that make sense? But yes, yeah, so I think I ended up rolling 2,000. So I do cap it at 2,000. But I think I rolled 21. So I did my 2,000 stitches. And I can't remember if I took a picture of where I actually finished kind of at the end of the month, because I know I only got a couple of days in last month and then a couple of days in this month. But if not, I'll put in like where I first picked it up. And then this is 2,000 and... oh, I didn't actually write the total. So this was 994 stitches. So this worked out to, I think, 2,068 stitches. So I almost managed to get a whole strip done. So this was a memorabilia. So this is Portrait of Veronica, and there she is. This is the piece I'm doing. This is my Marie Curie piece. This is inspired by Marie Curie. And yeah. Here is where I got to. So I'm working in sort of like 10 stitch stripes as I go along, mainly because I don't trust some of my counting in some of these. I messed up one of these kind of light stripes up there, and then decided that I didn't trust on this fabric. This fabric's quite slubby, so I think that's not helping with the counting. So yeah, and there we go. So I almost did a whole stripe along. I think I missed like 1 block over there, but yeah, and then there's obviously gaps in here. They are left for beads, because I'll do all the beads towards the end. But yes, So that was 2,068 stitches I managed to get in there. So and there's my needle minder from Agnes. It's my octopus one, which it was green and it sort of went with this one. So so yeah, but yeah, still loving her. Obviously you can see there's still quite a lot of her dress to do, so I'm kind of, where are we? I've just started this sort of part of, you know, that dark blob there, so you can see there's kind of from there all the way down still to do. But yeah, this tiny little swoosh is this bit here. But yeah, so lots of her skirt still to do. But I think this is going to be a sort of a bit more of a focus piece next year. Try and get some more you know, more progress in her. So, but yeah, and I'm converting the skin to over 1. So you can see I've sort of done this arm to there. So I've still got her hand to do, her other arm which pops out there, and then her chest up and her hair and everything. I am kind of recharting her hands a little bit as I go as well, mainly because sort of when I look at her fingers, they kind of look a bit weird. I felt, especially, I don't know if you can see on this hand here. I might put a separate picture in, but yeah, it just looks a little bit odd. So I thought I'm gonna redo that just so they look a bit more normal. But yeah, so that's that one, and this is using all the called for threads and fabric. So I believe it's Fenech that's called for on this one. They're the spools, so I think they're Fenech, the beads, and then the fabric is the 32 count, is it WIPGO linen in Star Sapphire. And yeah, I know I mentioned this last time, but this linen is really thin. Thin enough that my brand new Q-snap that I got can't hold this tight with a single layer. There's very little friction on it, it's very slippy. So I think it has got some sizing on it that's kind of given it that texture. But yeah, so a little bit hard to work with because yeah, it is sort of quite slubby all over. I will see if I can pop a picture in just so you can see. I have had this piece for a little while now. I think I bought the kit a little while before I even started it, so I don't know if they've changed their fabrics, you know, changed the base of their fabric, or if the fabric is just different now. But yeah, I do struggle with this one a little bit. But yes, there she is. So that was the first couple of days of the month done. Yeah, which started with my WIPGO. So how I work my WIPGO pieces is I split the goal in half and then do half of each every week. So the 4 halves get done in 4 weeks of the month. And my first one was Bathtime that I picked up. So here she is. This is what she's going to look like when she's finished. And I'm starting on this top left, top right, top left corner, and working in diagonal 20 stitch diagonals downwards. And I will pop in a picture of before and after here. I don't have anyone here to help me lift her, so and yeah, this one is getting there okay. So I've made it past the tail join and on the way down. This is a piece of 25 count antique white even weave, and then the cord for DMCs. But yeah, I think I've just reached the 60% mark on this. So yeah, and as I said last time, I'm on the way down and I'm almost at this corner. So I've got to finish going down and then start coming up, and then I come up at virtually at the corner sort of thing. So yeah, another couple of months and I will have met this corner, which means that I'll be on the home straight because my diagonals will be getting smaller again, all the way down to this one. But yeah, still really enjoying it. It's quite a nice one to stitch. It's not too confetti heavy now. Up here, where there was a lot of detail in the wallpaper, I'm assuming, and in the tail, there was quite a lot of confetti. But here now we're into just this kind of background, and then parts of the bath, it's a lot more blocky, so it is quite nice and like mindless stitching. So I how I tend to stitch this piece at least is I will pick the colour, the thread that's got like the least number of stitches in the next kind of block and a bit, and then I stitch those so that I leave the colour that's got the most stitches to do for last, and then that obviously covers up any ends, but also it means then it's quite nice and mindless just to kind of fill in all the way down, fill in all the spaces. So yeah, so that's how I like to stitch this one. So you get kind of a little bit of confetti and then kind of half an hour of like just zooming back and forth, and then a little bit of confetti and then some zoomies. So yeah, it's quite nice, this one. There will be a bit more confetti when we get into this the flowers down here, but I'm hoping that, you know, as we're going in the stripes, it won't get too kind of bogged down in the confetti as much. But yes, so that was it. So yeah, like I said, we're over the halfway, on 60%. We're almost to the third corner. So yeah, it will be nice to have this one done. My original goal when I started it was to have it completed in 5 years, and I think we've hit the 5 years now. I think this year would have been the 5th year, so yeah, a little bit off on my estimate, but you know, hopefully we'll get there soon. So that was bath time, and across the month, so on my first week and then the third week of the month, I did a total of 4,039 stitches. So my WIPGO goal was 4,000. So yeah, managed to reach that one. Then I did pick up my Christmas piece for a little bit, but I will come on to that in a second. So I'll do my next WIPGO piece was my 3 baby dragons. So this is a piece by Shinysuns Designs, and I use Markup XP for this one. And I started, where did I start? I think there we go. I started on, I've clamped it a little bit too high to the top. It's just black at the top. That wasn't any stitching, so that should be okay. But yeah, I basically started filling in the top of this book here because I'd already done this black. It had left kind of this odd shape section that wasn't quite diagonal, and I was ending up with, you know, once I was doing the diagonals, I was sort of ended up with a weird shape that was very hard to sort of park in and work out and that. So I just decided to sort of start working down in kind of like little curved shapes all the way down, just to fill that book in. But yeah, and then came down here and just did a little bit there. But yeah, and so this goal for WIPGO is to do 3,000 stitches per square. So this month I did 3,009 stitches, and yeah, have completely finished this dragon now. So yeah, finished his other hand, all of his face, but yes, very nice. But yeah, and yeah, just coming down here. So now with this one, I'm kind of going to be working just in this bottom piece until we kind of catch up here, and then I'm going to have to like maybe come up here and do this bit until I get into the long diagonals again. But you know, we'll come to that when we get there. I think I've got a little bit here to do, a few goes here to do to fill this up, so I don't have to think too far ahead just yet. But yeah, I think this is about the mid mark on the way down. So, you know, I think I've got a few more stripes. I only do this in 10 stitch diagonals, just because Pattern Keeper really struggles with this chart. Not Pattern Keeper, Markup. It doesn't pick up a lot of the symbols. So I have messaged the designer about now because they do PDFs, and it says, you know, if you want a PDF version sort of email. So I have emailed them, and they did get back to me saying that the chart is slightly different because they had to use a different software. but I'm just waiting for them to get back to my reply to that. So yeah, but I know she's not been well recently, so you know, I'll just wait for her reply. So that's fine. But yeah, there we go. Got my first of the 3 dragons done. There's another dragon down here, and then another one down here. So yeah, so might be creeping onto this one by the end of the year. And I've got a few more pulls for WIPGO for this, but I don't know whether we'll reach them yet. It would have helped if I actually just shown you the picture. That would have made more sense, wouldn't it? But yeah, so starting in the top right and working down. But yeah, I mean, I've got, let's see, that part of the wing of that one starts with the R of the rune, and I think this is the U here, so the R is here, so the wing probably starts about there. So you know, I might just start skipping on that dragon by the end of the year. So we might find dragon number 2. But yeah, so there we go. There's another close of that one. So I do like this one. I like the design. I don't particularly like working on it too much. I'm going to be using this one for Nicola's on her Facebook group. Her Facebook challenge for August is Pleasure or Pain, and this is definitely my pain piece. I really love the design. I can tolerate the fabric now that I've boiled it and managed to get rid of the sizing. But yeah, just the charting is hard work to go from. So, but yeah, but I can't wait to get this one finished. So hopefully it won't be too long. I mean, I think this piece is I mean, it's my smallest full coverage. It is, what are we looking at? I did not write down the total. It's 320 by 256. So I think it's like 89,000 stitches in total. I think, just to put into perspective, my Bathtime piece is, gosh, 250,000-ish, and my Animal Kingdom is about 750,000. So, you know, this is very small compared to those. But yeah, hard work. But it will be great when it's done. This is on 18 count Ada. I don't know if I said that bit. But yes. And then next up we have my Christmas piece. So this is by Jardin Prive. Oh, let's, I haven't got enough hands. This is Red Christmas. And this is my New Year, New Start. And I'm hoping to have this done by the end of the year. So it will be done within a year. And I'm doing the green conversion that is on the back. It uses the green 730s range of kind of goldy greens. So that's what it looks like when it's finished. And obviously I'll put a picture of where it was last month. And yeah, so I picked this up and stitched on it for sort of one day. In with my regular stitching. I did about 900 stitches on it that day, which I was quite proud of. So I managed to do, I think, a couple of sort of blocky bits, you know, filling in. You know, I can't remember which page I started. Was it the top page? I think it was. Oh gosh. I can't even remember where I stitched. I think it could have been at the top. But then my goal was to work on this for my 24 hours of cross stitch. So 24 hours of cross stitch is a sort of an event hosted by Jen Lee at, no, can't remember her channel name. I'll have to add it at the bottom. And I think she started it, how long ago now? It was several years ago. I think probably about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I think the first time I participated in it was in 2019. So was it before I started Flosstube? Maybe it was. Maybe it was before I started Flosstube. But anyway, it's not the point. So this time, instead of doing a different project every hour, which is what I had done previously, I was just going to focus on this piece, and I was going to focus on the border and see how far around the border I could get, because the border I'd worked out has is actually quite a bulk of the stitching in that border. So I thought, well, I'll start on the border, see what I can get around, and then the rest of the months of the year I'll spend sort of filling in, and there'll be a bit less stitching to do each month going forward, and then it means I can spend time working on other projects. That was my logic anyway. But yeah, so I picked this up and I worked on it for 24 hours. Now I took a leaf out of Jenna's book, because she mentioned about setting a timer to do the hours, so that you're and obviously then pause the timer if you're then not stitching, so if you're going off to eat or do something else. So I did actually stitch 24 actual hours on this one, and it did take me, you know, the whole sort of weekend to fit those 24 hours in. So I was team sleep, and I got a few hours of sleep in between, but yeah, and here's the reveal. This is how far I managed to get. But yeah, so I've got lumps of hanging thread. Can that stick there? There we go. But yeah, as you can see, I finished the border. So I started up here somewhere. I think this motif here. Again, I've clipped them a little bit too high. But yeah, this motif here, and all the way round to this one here. So I finished. I'd only done half of this sort of partial Quaker here. I have miscounted somewhere, because my border did not quite line up. I was one stitch too far apart, so uppy downy, you know, the lines matched up, those two lines, but yeah, I had an extra gap in the middle here. So did I think I did add like a little squiggle in, because I ended up with quite a large gap between the two motifs. Like, it comparatively to the rest of it, it looked a large gap, because the gaps between everything else are only sort of 1, maybe 2 stitches, and this gap over here ended up to being like 4 stitches. But yeah, so I did add a little squiggle in, just so that it doesn't look like a hole there in it. But yeah, and the eagle-eyed of you might see that I did actually do a bit more then when I was on here, because I did finish the border, I believe hour 19, so I then had 6 hours left of my 5 hours left of my 24 hours. 5 or 6? 6, yeah, I was right. So I thought I didn't want to do too much thinking, you know, too much having to sit and wonder, okay, where am I going next, which one am I going to do? So I thought, I'm just going to work on the words, because the words are quite easy to do. You know, you start and you just keep going all the way around. There's no sort of planning directions and things. It's very straightforward on a lot of these fonts. So I added in Wudtke, which is this one. I believe I added the whole piece in. Yeah, I don't think I'd started this, or I'd started like the K, I think I had already. So I added that one, and then I came up here and I just started Fenech, so I finished that one and came down, and I still had some more time, so I popped down from Noel, counted down and worked on this one. And I was the right number of stitches away from this border here, so I know this side of the border is in the right place. And then I think I was on to my last hour, and these candles here were quite blocky, so I thought, right, I'm just going to work on those. And there's a set of three candles, is it? No, 4 candles. 4 candles just at the side there. So I just started on those, and thought, yeah, I'll film my last sort of half hour with those bits. But yeah, so I've actually done quite a lot now of this design. I have very little left to fill in comparatively rest of the month, rest of the year. So yeah, so a lot smaller the pages are now, which hopefully will make this goal a lot more achievable. So I should have this finished by the end of the year. But yeah, so this is a piece of, probably should have said this at the start. This is a piece of 40 count, I think it's Vigar, it's got the orange, even weave, it's 40 count even weave. And I'm working 1 strand over 2 of DMC, this one is. But yeah, it's very thin, the fabric. I can virtually see through it, but holding it up to the camera, it doesn't look too bad. So at least however I finish it, I will need to be careful, because I was going to do this as a soft finish so that I could have it at Christmas and then kind of roll it up to put away. So I will just have to make sure I use a piece of sort of white sort of batting behind it, so that never any fabric I use isn't going to sort of show through any pattern. But yeah, but that is that piece. So yeah, so quite a lot of work done. Oh, how much work? I will tell you. I did so the 24 hours of cross stitch. I actually was quite stable across each hour, and I stitched 5,041 stitches across those 24 hours. So some hours, you know, I did a bit less stitching, because I did keep track every hour. I wrote down what my total was as we went, and most hours were between sort of about 150 and 250. The way I was stitching those, sometimes depending on the motif, I was only doing the halves in one direction to get, especially with the words. I sort of was doing the words, you know, just the half stitch all the way along, and then at the end then coming back, and I was only marking the cross as complete once I'd finished the cross. So at the end of the hour I might have done the whole word but only in half stitches, so I didn't log any stitching for it, and then the next hour I then went all the way back and logged those stitches. So, you know, some of the hours were a bit uppy downy like that, but on average, you know, my 20th hour I was still about on par with like my second hour, because I did wonder, that's one of the reasons I wanted to write down all my hourly targets, because I thought, well, I wonder how long through the day I might start slowing down. You know, I was like, am I going to get to say 5 hours of stitching and then dramatically get slower? You know, I thought it would be nice to know where my drop off is. But I did 12 hours on each day, so I made sure to finish my 12 hours before I was allowed to go to bed, sort of thing. So on each day, and yeah, by the 12th hour I was still stitching at about the same speed that I had been all the rest of the hours. So yeah, so my stitching speed remained quite constant, which was nice to know. But yeah, so it was just interesting, if you know, anyone else found that interesting as well. I don't know if anyone else has sort of measured their stitching like that, you know, hourly, to see if they do have a drop off. I don't know, be interesting if anyone has, and you know, whether they do or not. But yeah, so that I only spent the 2 days, and then that other random day I'd been stitching on this, so it was only 3 days of stitching for those 5,956 stitches all in all. So yeah, so quite a bulk of that done for this month. Then next, obviously so I went back to the other half of my Bathtime and Dragons, which I've shown you both. So then my last goal for the month was my greenhouse sale, and this, I believe we was on planting 6 for this piece, and which is in the right atrium. So I'll hopefully have inserted pictures of where that is and what it all looked like when it's finished and where it was last month. But yeah, so we're over on the right hand side this month, and I believe August's section is also on the right hand side, so we'll be getting that finished. And this is my progress. So we did this little plant here, we did this bit here, and this tree here, which also had a couple of other bits here, which I'm assuming are the same part of the same tree, but just because the next motif that goes here is going to be covering up a lot. But yeah, because it did seem a bit random to have to count and do like 6 stitches in the middle of nowhere. But I'm trying to keep faithful to the each planting and do them as called for. But yes, got a new needle minder there as well. Don't know if you can read it, but yes. And yes, this is my Greenhouse of Oddities cell by Lola, and it is on a piece of 32 count Megan Coffee Crafts fabric, even weave. So it's kind of like a pinky greeny mottled fabric. But yeah, I quite like this one. So I'm going to pop her down and grab the information sheet out so we can learn what I actually stitched on, because I haven't even looked at the sheet yet. Normally I do have a look before I come on. I haven't even looked, so we'll learn this one together. Right, okay, maybe I might swap sides because it's this part here. So yeah, let's just turn you around a little bit for a minute. Right, okie dokie. So here's where we are. Stitched 3 things this month. So the first is this plant here. So you can see it's white and white blooms with the red and little black spots. And this is a Actea pachypoda, which is also known as doll's eyes or the white baneberry. It's native to eastern North America, so some of you might recognise it. I don't know how popular it is, not how populous, how common it is to find growing. But yes, so the shape, size and the black mark of the white baneberry give it a strange appearance as clusters of doll's eyes. So yeah, I don't think I'd like to stumble upon those in the woods at night. might be slightly more terrifying. But the berries and the entire plant are poisonous, causing cardiac arrest and death. So they basically paralyse the heart muscle, or the heart, and stop your heart beating, and then you die. So yeah, so no eating. These are not for food. I know you can also get some that do turn red. They're not cranberries. Please do not eat them. But yeah, the white ones apparently look like doll's eyes, which I can see in there. You know, the little white orbs with the black spots on, looking quite freaky. You know, if you stumbled across those in the middle of the night, you know, when it's dark, might not be, too good. Then next we had the Death's Head hawk moth, and this is one that we might find over here. So this is native to sort of Europe, Africa, sort of the Middle East. Where am I going? Here it is. But yeah, I think it's quite accurate. Obviously, it's only over a small number of stitches, but yeah, they are very big. These moths, and I believe they do have the markings that they do have on the back, so you can sort of see the lighter stitches in the middle. They do look like skulls on their backs when they're kind of flying around. But yeah, there is nothing dangerous or deadly about these moths. So yeah, they only get their name from the skull-like marking on their thorax. It's a large moth with 5-inch wingspan. So 5 inches is about that, so they grow to about that. And chirp when they're angry, don't we all? But yeah, they raid beehives for honey and can mimic the scent of the bees as a disguise, so that when they're stealing the honey, the other bees don't attack them. So yeah, that's one way to do it. But yeah, I can hear someone mowing their lawn, so I'm just going to pull the door to and hopefully... There we go, hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, and then third plant here is this tree up here, so obviously it's going behind whatever this is, so it will be a tree. And these blooms, they look a little bit like bluebells, but they're white. And this is Brugmansia suavelans. always like to treat you to my pretend Latin. So which is common name is Angel's Trumpet or Angel's Tears. These are grown in southeast Brazil. They bloom at night and they are as beautiful as they are deadly. They're grown as ornamental plants in gardens, but all parts of the plant are extremely toxic and cause poisoning through eating, inhaling or touching. So yeah, so they might be grown in ornamental gardens, but they are a no touchy plant. So yeah, but this atrium is called Deadly Beauties, which makes sense because everything can hear, apart from the hawk moth, like the poor little thing getting dumped in here as well, just because he's got a skull on it. Like I feel so like offended on his behalf. He's put in with all these very poisonous things, and this little dude's just chilling, looking for some honey. Like, but yeah. But anyways, that was part 6, and that is 970 stitches. Part 7 is in this area as well, so I assume we'll be filling in this space with something. This looks like legs. I don't know legs of what, but it looks like. So yeah, so I don't know what we'll be filling in, but yeah, so we've got, I don't know, a turkey or something, and then another plant to go here. So but yeah, so that's for this month, and I say it'll probably be about the same size. I think they're all about 1,000 stitches, give or take, which isn't too bad. But we are on the home straight, so I think we have part planting number 7, and then there'll probably be a couple more over here. And then I know we've got to put something up here because the bars of the greenhouse are broken, so I know there's got to be something up there. And then I also know there's the kind of stinky plant that goes in the middle that my sister started on, so I know we also have that as well. So I think we've got like 2 bits in the middle, 2 bits in the left, and then 1 more bit in the right to do. But yes, so there we go. Yes, so looking forward to that one. And I'm debating whether to start the turn this back round, whether to do a similar thing next year, but with because I've got the aquarium, and she's also done the aviary this year, which I am sort of downloading those parts as well. So I'm like, do I do the aquarium next year or the aviary? You know, do one or the other. I know I have the aquarium all kitted up and ready to go with the fabric, because I wanted to buy a piece of 32 count as well, because I wanted it to be the same size as this one, because dimension wise it was very similar. And then I thought I could finish the two in two frames side by side. The aviary is in portrait mode, so I haven't picked a bit of fabric for that yet. I'm not sure whether I'll do it the same size, like 32 count, whether I'll go bigger or smaller. But yeah, I haven't looked at the dimensions of that comparatively to this to see if it is the same dimensions but just the other way around, or whether it is smaller. I haven't looked at that yet. That is a job for, you know, future me to do. So I'm not starting it yet, so I haven't planned anything for it yet. But yes, so they were the 3 plants for this one. Let's turn my phone back off. And yeah, then my last piece that I worked on this month, I can pop that down now, is actually I lied. I keep forgetting about this one. So let me show this one off first. So I found this. This was a piece that I had taken to hospital with me when I was in hospital, and I started it then. And basically it was just in my hospital bag, and it's been in my hospital bag for like 3 years now. Maybe even longer. I think it was 4 years ago that I last had major surgery, you know, where I knew I was going to be in hospital for a couple of days. So that's why I took this with me. And I emptied the bag because I found it and I was like, oh, maybe I'll empty this. This was the one in there. So this is the Heritage Crafts, one of their little friends collection. This is a baby sparrow. A lot of birds, when they're babies, look very cute. Very pretty. Sparrows Sparrow is not one of them. They're like ugly cute sort of thing, because they look very scruffy. But I saw this and thought, well, I might as well get around to finishing it. So yeah, just pop this on a wee hoop and finish this up. So this was, I think it was almost half done. I had done his head. I didn't take a picture. I might have taken a picture at the time, so like 4 years ago in my videos you might find him. But yeah, so I just had to do the bottom half. So I did put in just over 600 stitches. So yeah, and finished off my little baby Sparrow. Not too sure what I'm going to do with him. Whether I'll finish him into a little ornament or, you know, little cushions thing, you know, little, I don't know. Or they put him in a little, one of those wee hoops. I mean, I have got enough fabric for quite a bit. It did come with quite a decent sized piece of fabric. So whether I put it in a wee hoop, little 4-inch hoop or something, finish it like that, I don't know. I haven't thought of that yet. I do have another one of these. I think it's the chickadee that I've got. I don't think I've got the baby robin, so I think it's that one. But yeah, so do I get that one out and do that and then finish them in 2 little hoops or little flat folds, or yeah, I haven't decided yet. But yeah, very cute and all done. So I do like these. But yeah, I must admit this was easier to stitch on the even weave because there are quite a few sort of partial stitches, but not even like regular fractionals like diagonal. There's also like the halfway fractionals as well, and some very small back stitch, like especially in the eye you've got like a 1/4 stitch dash in the eye, and yeah, so doing these on the even weave was a bit easier, but yeah, so he is all done anyway. And now I can get on to my last piece. So this piece here, because I am taking part in the Stitching Connection, which Jason from Jason Crossstitches, I think that's his channel name. Yeah, that's what I wrote down. But he's put together a round robin, but sort of more of a international round robin. So there's quite a few groups. I believe there's 19 groups all in. I think I mentioned it on my last video, but I can't remember if we got everything finalised by then. But yeah, so there's about 19 groups, and there's about four people in each group, I believe. So I'm in a group of ladies all in the UK. We're actually all in England. But yes, there's myself, there's Trudy, there's Georgia, and there is Charlie. Charlie also has a Flosstube channel, Stitching with Charlie. Yes, Stitching with Charlie. So she'll also be sharing what she's doing for the round robin over there too. But yeah, so our group have basically decided we're all going to do our own, pick our own designs rather than, as opposed to all picking the same. As opposed to all picking the same design, we're all going to pick completely different. Divvy it up into 4, and we'll all stitch a 1/4 of the design, and then sort of send it on. So we've planned for us to take, you know, there's not going to be too much of a rush. We've planned for it to take about a year, and we've all chosen quite small pieces, working out there were about 1,000 stitches for each section, so like 4,000 in total. So they're all going to be quite small pieces, just because like, I have lots of stitching time, but obviously other people have, you know, jobs and things. So we kind of worked out, you know, what would be better for us all as a group. And yeah, so I sort of scrounged through, went through my all my kits that I already had, or charts that I had, and thought, well, you know, I must have something that would go. So let's see what I've got. So I sort of flicked through everything and pulled out a few different designs. Sort of went back and forth, and then this is the one I chose, especially after finding that piece of the rubbing, and this was what I picked. So this is another Heritage Crafts piece. I got this from Sarah, Crossstitch Sarah. After I think she stitched it, she destashed it. So I got this from her, and it is charted. It's not charted to be done like this. It is charted to all be done in a row. like this, but there are 6 birds. But I thought, well, instead of doing all 6, we'll just do 4. So figuring each bird is probably about 1,000-ish stitches. But yeah, so, and then I said, well, you know, I'll put mine in the middle, and then the other 3 ladies can pick whichever bird they fancy doing, and sort of arrange them in a line. And then when I get it back, I'll kind of make sure that, you know, I can kind of make sure the branches line up. I don't mind doing that, just to make sure the pattern matches. And then I would add this leaf in to wherever the middle of the design is going to be, because obviously I don't know in which direction we're going to go with the birds. But yeah, so I figure when I get it back, I'll finish the branch and pop that leaf on. But yes, so which bird did I pick? I actually chose the only one that's looking forwards. So I chose that one, because the others are all looking and shouting in one direction or another. So I thought, I'm going to pick this little buddy in the middle, and I'm going to plonk him in the middle of the fabric, and you know, there's enough room on each side to do plenty for everyone else to choose. And here is a little, I finished him yesterday, so he's still on the frame at the minute. I probably should have pulled that off so we can see. But yeah, and there he is. This is on a piece of 18 count Ada that I got from Megan, copy of Crafts Fabric. I actually got this in her summer sale. I believe there is still a few bits left on her summer sale. I think she said last week she was putting the last few bits up, so I think everything that's going to be there is already on the site now, so obviously until it's sold. But yeah, so there's my tiny little chickadee, all sorted, and I've just popped my initials next to mine as well. So obviously hoping that everyone will sign their little one, so I can have them all together. But yeah, there he is, little tubby chickadee. But yes, it's very small on the 18 count, but you know, I mean, like, they're 30-ish stitches high, 35 stitches high, so that's like 2 inches on an 18 count fabric. So yeah, just little 2 inches high. But yeah, not sure how I'm going to finish this one when I get it back, whether I'll do it into a little like a cushion, like a long cushion, or something else. But again, that is a job for future me to deal with. But yeah, so yeah, he's finished and ready to go on his travels to get his friends stitched. But yes, so it was 855 stitches, so a bit less than the 1,000 that I'd kind of estimated. But also I know that some of the other birds are bigger than he is, so the ones that are sidewards have a lot more stitching, you know, because they have the wings sticking out, and so to be fair, I probably picked the smallest bird to do. So, but you know, I picked the little runt, and he'll get all his big brothers and sisters stitched soon. But yes, so I wonder if that's the same as one of these. No, that's okay. I was just wondering if the little one that's on there is like the same, but it's not, so that's good. But yeah, so that is going to be all packaged up. And oh, I forgot to mention, this is on using raw broderie threads, so I got this all kitted up from Lindsay for me to toddle off. But yes, so that was all my stitching for this month. So all in all, I did I closed my book, didn't I? What did I do? I did 15,823 stitches. So I added half of that to my stitching allowance, and then took off the 855 stitches that I did for the little chickadee, my new start, which left me carrying forward 37,137. Nice number. But yes, so some of that is going to get spent soon. Obviously my other round robin pieces I will take off from my allowance as they come, just because with our round robin taking about a year, some of it's going to get pushed into next year, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep going with a stitchy allowance after my new year new starts, if I'm going to do a different method of it, if I'm going to keep it or whatever. So I thought rather than taking it all now in anticipation of me having, you know, new projects to work on, I'll treat them as new starts when they come in the post, and we'll go from there. So that's how I'm going to do that one. But I have another new start planned for August. In all fairness, this one is not my fault. I can blame somebody else for this one, I think. So let's go on to next month's plans, stitching plans. And we'll start with my new start that I'm going to have. So this is to celebrate Jenna's birthday, which is on the 19th of August. Jenna's channel is The Red-Headed Stitcher. She's going to be starting the Summer Quaker from Lila's studio. If I've got a picture, I'll pop it in here. And just having a sound, I thought, I think I've got, and at the time I couldn't remember if I had a Lila's studio one, but I knew I had a Quaker piece, and I thought, well, I'll dig that one out and sort of do a Quaker one. However, once I took it out, I realised it is also a Lila's studio piece. So I thought, brilliant. So I'm going to start this one, which is a Quaker Welcome. Now, I got this from the raffle at the Essex Needles retreat. I can't remember if it was, I think it was in last September. I don't think it was in March, I think it was in September. But yes, so I got this from there. And when I got it, I thought there was a few motifs that I liked and a few that I didn't. So I thought what I'm going to do is, I wasn't as fussed about this alphabet. I've got my Harriet Salt that has all my alphabets on, so I thought I don't, you know, necessarily want another alphabet. And that, but I did really like this pineapple motif there, and these sort of flowers here and the ravens and that. So I thought, well, if I move a couple of those down, you know, I'll sort of see where they fit, and just stitch under the alphabet and finish it as a drum. Now, I'm not sure scale wise if that's enough stitching to then make into a drum, or if my drum's going to end up like really tall and thin. So I might have to, you know, add another motif, maybe move one of the houses down, add the house on, I don't know. I haven't got that far yet, so I will have to sort of maybe map it out on the piece of fabric, and then, you know, how big it's going to be, and sort of try and fold that into a drum and see if that's okay. But yes, so this is going to be my start for Jenna's birthday sale. And yeah, so I bought the threads pack for it. Now the threads I bought, I actually picked these up from the Knit and Stitch show. I think it was the same year. Where are we? And this is a thread pack from Zoe, up at Paint Box Threads. So that's her logo there. And it's the Rose and Gold thread pack. And then, because I also needed a dark colour, I picked up her dark brown, which, does it have a number 18? There we go. So it's pearl 12 cottons, and let me try and hold them all so you can see them. And there we go. So I needed a darker colour to go in there. But yes, so lots of sort of pinky roses, and then some sort of goldy greens, and then this is probably a bit more of a brown. This one's quite variegated, sort of between sort of oranges and the greens. But yeah, and then the dark brown there as well. So I think this is 100 meters, and these are 50s in the set. But yes, so pearl 12 cottons are about the same thickness as sort of 1.5 DMCs, so they're a bit thicker than a strand of DMC, but not quite as thick as 2 strands of DMC. And you use these as they come off of the hank. They come off as a single strand, so you just use it as a single strand. There, but they're the colours there. And so I'm just in a predicament over which fabric I shall pick. Now I am going to be sort of doing a colour conversion for this, because obviously a lot of these bottom motifs are all in just the black, and I'm not going to be stitching them all in this dark. I will make use of some of my colours. So sort of the leaves from here I'm going to be making into one of the greens, and the leaves over here are going to be green as well. I might even put those leaves into a green, and the bow I might end up doing in sort of the maroon colour. You know, I'll sort of swap up the colours as I go along, so that we're using sort of all of these colours in there. The birds will stay dark brown, and maybe the plant pot. But yeah, I'm going to be making use of all the colours as we go, including sort of these 2 pinks here. Now the light pink I think is the one that I'm a bit nervous of with the fabrics. So it is done on a piece of fabric was used 40 count Old Massachusetts by the Primitive Hair. I've picked up 3 different pieces that I'm not sure of here, and it's really hard to get them to photograph acceptably. So yeah, there we go, that's not too bad. So I've got these 3 pieces here. Now a couple of them are from Megan, and one of them is this one here, which is a slightly rosy from Sparklies. So this is a 40 count, which is, you know, what the fabric calls for. I think the 40 count will be alright 1/2 with the Pearl 12. Like I said, it's about a 1.5 DMC, and I know my Christmas piece is 1 strand of DMC over 2 on 40, and like I think 2 strands would be too much, but I think 1.5 would be okay, so that might work. But the only thing I'm nervous about is that colour blending in a bit too much once I get it down to 1 strand. There we go. So yeah, so what I'm going to do later is I might actually pull a strand of it and just do a few X's just on the fabric, and just see if I think it's blending in too much or not before I make the choice, because this is the one that I keep leaning towards. So but if it's a brighter pink than this. I need something that is just white. What have we got? Let me have a look. Okay, this isn't just white, but it's, you know, close. There we go. Haha, that's better. Right, now we're getting somewhere. Right. And that colour on it. So as a whole bulk, it stands out, but like I said, I'm not 100% sure once it gets down to just 1 strand whether it'd be okay or not. But there's all the threads against that one. So, you know, I think that's okay. But what I first picked out was a couple of the beiges, to be fair, because it is charted on a beige. And I pulled out this piece. These are both from Megan. And this is a piece of 40 count. Oh. And that is sort of, it looks a little bit more, almost like the coffee grounds have stained it, so it's very speckly, which looks quite nice. And we've got our threads on that one. But yeah, so, and then this one is a bit darker, but this is when I was wondering whether the 40 count would be too small for it. So I then picked out a piece of 28 count to do, because I was also trying to work out, you know, size wise, if I was making it into a drum but I was doing it on 40 count, is my drum going to end up being like, you know, like 2 inches high and like a little itty bitty thing, like, so yeah. So I thought, well, let me pick out another piece as well, just in case, and we can go from there. But yes, so this is the 28 count. So this is a lot more mottled, and it goes from sort of very light to a bit more yellowish to then kind of very brown. So it's a lot more variegated to pick from, and as you can see, I mean, it's quite, all across is very different, you know. This piece of fabric is very much different to that piece, so I'll probably have to be a bit selective of where on my piece of fabric I chose to stitch this. But oh, try and get those colours down. But then there's those colours there, so that brown is overpowering a bit. But yeah, so yeah, so I'm kind of a bit ummy and ahhry, but really looking forward to this one. Like I said, I just love these colours I picked out for it. So yeah, so really looking forward to picking this one up, which will be on the 19th of August, which is a, what is the 19th of August? 19th, that's September. 19th of August is a Tuesday. Ooh. And yeah, and it is a Tuesday that I don't have anything else on. So yeah, so I've got a free day that day, so I can pottle along with this and see how much I can get done. But yeah, so bring the rush with me. Yeah, so I won this one from the raffle, but the person who donated it to the raffle bought it from Arts and Designs, which I think is do they ship to I think they're UK based, or they ship to the UK quite happily. But yeah, it's artsanddesigns.com. But yes, so, and great welcome. But yes, anyway, I've been talking about that for like 10 minutes. But yes, if you would like to get involved, and if you have a Lila Studio piece, I know a lot of people are doing the Halloween Quaker from Lila Studio, which has the witch in the middle, and I think there's bats and a black cat somewhere and things. Then you need to hop over onto her channel and join her cell and share your pictures over there. But yes, so that is going to be my new start. Then other plans are, obviously I've got my 4 goals, so my 2 WIPGO, my Christmas and my greenhouse. So the 2 WIPGO calls that Jessie Marie has called are 12 and 15, which for me are Bathtime and 3 baby dragons again. So this will be the 3rd month on the trot that I've stitched those 2 pieces. So it'll be 7,000 stitches in total, so 4,000 on the Bathtime, 3,000 on the dragons. I did have to come back to my little table that I'd drawn, because I thought, well, I've been doing a lot of those 2 for the past, you know, the last 3 months. Is it going to get to the last 4 months into the year and I'm only going to be stitching on this, so this is my Animal Kingdom piece behind me. I thought, am I going to spend 4 whole months of the year just only stitching on that piece? Because that's a lot. That is a max colour supersize, so that is only confetti. There is no block stitching in that one, I don't think. But yeah, and I just add it up, and I think the last 4 months of the year I've got 4 rolls for Animal Kingdom, and then 2 rolls each for Bathtime and the dragons. So, you know, I've still got a little bit of the other 2 in, so it won't be 4 solid months of stitching on the Animal Kingdom. But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to get back to it, but not. I remember I had 1 month where Animal Kingdom was called for both the numbers, and that was a heavy going month. That was hard work doing, you know, 8,000 stitches on just the one project. But I mean, I did it, but yeah, hopefully it won't happen again. But you know, the odds do not seem to be in my favour. But yep, and then my my Red Christmas. So I'm going to pick a page to do. I think I do have a little bit left of the page that I was supposed to have done in July, but because I went and did my 24 hours across it with all the border, I did cop out. But yeah, so that's going to be for August. And then I've got, oh, I've put that in there before I lose it. That's the, what the pink fabric's called. Then my greenhouse, so I've got the other half of the Deadly Beauties to do. So that left atrium, right atrium. And yeah, that's my goal. So there's five things to work on for next month, and then I'll be looking at getting ready for my September retreat. So working out what I want to take, what I'm going to be working on there. But yeah, I think that's everything. So next is shout outs. So I've got a couple of shout outs to do this month. Obviously the lovely Stitching with Charlie, so who's in my Man Robin group. So her channel, she has just, she's a very new stitcher. She's only been stitching since January, and her last couple of videos she's just done are a finish parade of everything she's sort of finished for the first 6 months, and a whip parade of her first 6 months of stitching. So yeah, so go and check those out. I know she's recently finished a Kingfisher piece out of one of the magazines. Was it World of Cross Stitcher, I think, which is very cute. And what else has she finished? She's doing another piece out of one of the magazines as well, and my brain's just gone. You know, you can sort of picture someone holding something up, and I'm like, is it Charlie that was holding that piece up, or a different channel that I watched that was doing that piece? And now I don't want to say it in case I get it wrong, and I'm like, tell everyone to go over and watch it, and it's not there. But yes, she's also done lots of little like magnets, and to decorate her radiator that's in her room. She's like, I've got a plain wall and a plain radiator, so they all go on the radiator. But yeah, lots of little magnets that she's done, and she's got the patterns from quite a few different places. So some that are sort of charted as smalls, but also just some pixel art that she's found that she's converted herself, and some other bits that she's sort of scaled down and made into sort of little characters and things. But yeah, they're all quite fun. And if you go and watch her finish parade, she actually has them laid out on cookie trays. She has a cookie sheet of them all, which was actually a really cool way of like displaying them to show them off. And it occurred to me that I could do that with some of my needle minders. So I'm going to be digging out, you know, having a scrounge around for like a thin, you know, cookie sheet somewhere that I can use to pop up on my sewing table and have all my needle minders on there. Because at the minute they're kind of just stuck to like anything vaguely magnetic that I've got. Like I have a little trolley here that I've got a bunch stuck to, and then I've got some stuck to I've got a gooseneck phone stand that is clamped on my cross stitching frame, because then that's where I have my Flosstube videos playing, and there's a bunch stuck to that. I think at one period I did have a bunch stuck to here, because this was you know, I had loads stuck onto here until I ended up having to clear them off to take it to retreat. So yeah, I'm like, maybe I should be slightly more organised and get something to keep them all together, because I do not have a metal radiator that I can commandeer for my minders, I'm afraid. So but yes, so that was Stitching with Charlie. Obviously the lovely Jason, who has set up this, you know, community for us all. Jason X Stitches, so go over and check him out. He's also a very new Flosstuber. I think he has been stitching for kind of, you know, a little while. But yes, very new to Flosstube. I think it's about five months. So he's getting there. I think he's on episode 10 or 12 as well. So again, quite new. But yeah, and he was sharing about what his groups. He's in a group, Man Robin, as well, and they are doing the bookshelf from, oh gosh, you know, I can't remember. It's not 2x2 stitch art. It is an Etsy designer, because I have the chart is in my basket to get. I'll see if I can put a picture in. And this is what they're doing for that. And I thought, oh, I thought I might have to start that chart. It might have to, you know, wheedle its way into my you know, new starts somewhere. But yeah, that's what he's doing for one of his round robins. And also someone that I'm not sure if I've already shouted them out, because I've been watching them for a little while, and if I haven't already shouted them out, then like that's very naughty of me, because I should have. And that is the lovely Pan over at Ditsy Daisy Crafts. She is a Scottish floss tuber, and as part of her channel she always teaches us a Scottish word of the day, or sort of word of the video, something. And yes, so she's very sweet. She's recently done a video of sort of some vintage finds that she's found, sort of vintage cross-stitch kits and patterns that she's found. But yes, so head over and have a look at that. And also one thing that has worked its way into my basket was she showed a Owl Forest embroidery piece called Bumblebee Noon, which is a wreath that's sort of thistles and bumblebees. And that, I thought that's very pretty. It's very Scottish, thistles, but I do like thistles. They're one of my favourite flowers. So I thought, yeah, that's going to sneak into my my basket. Yeah, she also did a Scottish conversion of the Primrose Cottage Stitches, like their freebie of the month for July, because it was originally sort of American Independence Day themed with the sort of red, white and blue. And yeah, and she's done a conversion to Scottish colours, but yes, which was very sweet. So it did prompt me to go and sign up to the Primrose email so that I could get that chart, because I thought, oh, but I wonder if I could, you know, convert it into obviously something different. But yes, I'm going to be having a play with that. But yes, and also she's doing the A Year in the Woods sale, so the same Year in the Woods that I'm doing, so not the new one, the previous one. And she's already finished the fox, I think, but she's working on the deer at the minute. But she's going to have the two sort of framed side by side, sort of the wintry ones. So which is very pretty. And yeah, I do like the reindeer, so I do need to get a wiggle on and finish up my fox so that I can work on the you know, the next piece. But yes. So that is all the stitching. I have a little bit of shopping to show you, because is it Michelle over at Stitchmania Stash had a bit of a sale on, so I did go and buy a few different bits from her that I will show off. But yes, but apart from that, that is everything that I was going to show. So obviously if you don't want to see my shoppings, then that's the end of my video, and I will see you next time. But yes, so thank you. And if you would like to stay for shoppings, I will show you a bit of what I bought. So I bought a couple of project bags. Of course, so I'm actually getting a bit more into using these larger project bags. At the minute, most of my projects are sort of in these like book sleeves, which they do. Most of them do fit, but there's some charts that I've got now, especially like the Year in the Woods sale, that's got quite a lot of charts and all the flosses and all the little bits of fabric and that sort of don't really fit into one of those, because the project's a lot bigger than just one piece and that. So I thought, well, I'm going to get some more. So I picked up a couple of these. So this is a bumblebee one. But the reason I picked it up was the embroidery on the back. Have a look at that. Look at that bumblebee. But yes, and like I said, it is sort of raised embroidery. But yes, so I got that one, and then I picked up this one as well, which is sort of skulls and potion bottles and moons with bats in them. And then on the back I've got a black cat. It's with flowers. So I picked this one up as well. So this one's they're both similar size, one's slightly bigger than the other, but you know, so the black one is ever so slightly bigger. But these will fit quite easily in 11 by 11 Q-snap although not that I tend to leave my projects on the Q-snaps. I don't have enough Q-snaps to leave everything on frames, so I do just take them off and swap them when I'm finished working with them. Oh, stay there. Another couple of things I got from her is the ball is mine, but I bought some counting pins. So these are just green and gold at the end, and just they're a bit thicker than a needle. They're probably about the size of a 24, I want to say. I use size 28 needles pretty much all the time, so I can't remember how big a 24 is, but I think it is. I mean, they've got a bit of give in them still, so yeah. But yeah, a set of 3 of these, and to be fair, I've been using them a lot more than I thought I would, just for marking, like on my little birdie that I started, my chickadee, just for sort of counting out where I was going to start and how big it was going to be to get it on the fabric. So yeah, I've been using these a lot more than I thought. Like there's been a couple of times where I've used needles for things and I thought, oh, I should get some counting pins for counting these out. But yeah, I've actually used these more than I thought, so which is handy. And I also picked up one of these, which is a tail grabber. So it's got like, I don't know if you can see it there. Maybe I should put it up behind a piece of card. There we go. So it opens out and then, you know, squishes down, and then it's got little, it's not really a sharp point, but it does go to a point at the end, because I'm awful for leaving my ends of thread far too short to actually weave under the others. So this has come in handy a couple of times to sort of weave under, catch the end, and then pull it through. So you can see they're quite flexible. So it allows you to pull the thread back through when the tail's too short. So I'm sure she could just call this a tail catcher. But yeah, so it's got one of those gems on there. And I bought my new needle minder that I did show you there. That's the rooster. So that is that one there. But yeah. Some fabrics from Megan. Sort of having a snoop around a summer sale right at the start of it, and picked up a few pieces. So I picked up this one, which is a lot greener than it's showing up there. You know, I don't want to say it's a lot greener because it then occurs to me that I do have a blue light filter on mine, so it does make everything a bit more orangey yellow. So this might be coming up fine on your screen, I don't know. But yeah, very sort of dark, underwatery vibes. But yes, I really like. So this one I am looking to start with my sister. We're starting the Autumn Lane Stitchery, the Curious Mermaid, I think it's called. But yeah, so I might be starting it on this piece. I've got this piece or an opalescent piece to choose from, and I'm sort of umming and ahhing between the two at the minute. But yes, so I'm looking at starting that at the September retreat with her. But yeah, so there's that piece. That's a 40 count linen. This is also a 40 count linen, and this one has a lot of dark. It's definitely a bit sort of, it's not quite blue, it's more purpley red. But I'm wondering, I got this piece because I do have a Bella Filipina piece called Siren something. I'll see if I can get a picture. And I'm wondering if that'll work on this. It's on a piece of red and black fabric. So, but yeah, I'm wondering if I can get it on a piece of this. But yes, we'll have to see with that one. Also, that was a piece of 40, which I think was the only piece she had in at the time. And I don't know how many beads and things that the actual Bella has in it, as to whether I would be able to convert it to a piece on 40 count. Obviously, if it's too small, I might have to ask Megan if she's able to dye up a similar piece like that, but on a 28 or 32. Picked up this piece. This one is very orange. I do not have any orange pieces at all in my stash, so I was missing orange. It's like an orange sherbet. It's also an opalescent, so very sherbety. It's a opal linen in 28. I don't know if you can tell, there's a sparkle there, but yeah, but I had to get that because I don't have a piece of orange, and that was my excuse. But yes, oh, and I picked up another piece of 40 count. So this one has lots of yellow in it, so quite dark at the top and then yellowy at the bottoms there. But yeah, so oh, but yeah, you can tell it does look sort of almost like two bits of fabric on each side. So yeah, not sure what I'll use that piece for, but it does look quite fun. It's very, very distinct mottling on this one, which is quite fun. And then I picked up this piece. This is a 28 count linen, and this is for the Sea Witch by Nora Corbett that my sister bought me for my birthday. So this is a lot more purple that it's showing up on camera, like a pinkier purple. But yes, so this is what I bought for her. So that is going to be going into that one, and that is the probably the fancy lady that I'll start when I finished one of my existing fancy ladies. But yes, because what fancy ladies have I got at the minute? I've got my Dark Queen of the Earth, which I mean, when I finish that one there might be another Dark Queen coming out, I don't know. That's an Autumn Lane Stitchery piece. I have my Veronica, portrait of Veronica, my memorabilia. I have a Bella. Which one do I have on the go at the minute? Bella, Enchantress of the Abyss. I have on the go for a Bella, and then I also have the Bella Sal that was the 4 Little Seasons mermaids. So yeah, so once I finish one of those, I can then start the Nora. I'm trying not to get too many pieces of the same theme or the same designer on the go at once. Just so I don't want to end up sort of with all of my whips being kind of from one certain place. Hopefully that cools down. Then I also picked up this from Megan's as well. I've seen this quite a few times, and I keep thinking, oh yes, I'll get that, and I'll see someone stitching on their channel, be like, oh that's really pretty, I should get it. And yeah, this came up in the summer sale. So this is a Cottage Garden Samplings Peacock, and it finishes a pincushion. But yeah, as you can see, she's got he's got a thread in his beak. But yes, so, and that uses 1 week's, and the rest is DMC. So it's just this dark blue in his chest is a week. So I will probably pick that up from Talking Dog when I get an order together. But yes, and that is a little pincushion. But yeah, so I picked that up as well. And that is all my shopping from, you know, this month. Quite a bit this month, but I know I don't very often have, you know, shopping, so it's, yeah, it's not too bad. But yeah, and that is it. So on to August. So I've got a few goals to meet, new sale to start, round robin to get posted off, and yeah, retreat to plan for, which is in September. But yeah, so well, the minute my clock is showing 1 hour and 45 minutes, so hopefully when I get this edited down it won't be quite that long. But you know, thank you for watching, if indeed you still are, and hope you managed to get quite a bit of stitching done while I rabbited on. But yes, and I shall see you soon for a August update. But yes, so I love you lots, and